They likely thought they had found something valuable after discovering the 2 dungeons and didn't want to walk back without anything. He had been in a similar situation before, so he decided to warn them. It's a trick. The hunters hadn't seen him coming, so his sudden words surprised them and made them step back.
What? Who are you?
Jinwoo pointed toward the large metal door. He remembered. I survived the double dungeon before. Someone who survived the double dungeon. The hunters looked at each other and talked quietly. It was dark, so it took them a moment to realize who it was. Wait. What? Isn't that Hunter Jinwoo-sung? Huh. Everyone looked at the hunter who spoke, then at Jinwoo. Now that you say that, it really is him. But what is an S-rank hunter doing here? Jinwoo walked forward, and the hunters near the entrance quickly stepped aside to let him pass. He carefully put his hand on the door. He knew what was behind it. It felt strange being here again, but he didn't have time to think about the past. The system had asked him to come, so he couldn't allow anyone else to enter, for their safety or his own. Jinwoo turned and spoke to them seriously. This is a really dangerous place, you should go back. I can handle it from here. The group of hunters grumbled a little, but they didn't say anything out loud, because Jinwoo was a famous and powerful hunter. But someone in the group always had to speak up, and the leader of the guild in charge of this mission finally said something. Excuse me, Hunter Sung. He was in charge of the group, and wanted to finish the job. The Bravery Guild got permission to explore this dungeon, honestly. You don't have the right to tell us to stop. That's right. Do you think you can do anything you want, just because you are very strong? Jinwoo frowned when they argued with him. He had been trying to be helpful as a friendly gesture, but he didn't plan to try harder to convince them. He didn't have to do anything here. Jinwoo had already done everything that anyone could expect from him. He knew what had happened to other hunters who had come here before, including himself, and he didn't want that to happen to these hunters. But he would let them decide for themselves. He reached for the doorknob and pulled. It wouldn't budge. He pulled with all his strength, but the door stayed shut. Was there a magical lock on it? There didn't seem to be any other reason why the door wouldn't open. Just then, a ringing sound came. The door to the Carden Temple was locked. It needed a key to open. That made sense. Jinwoo created the black key, and the door opened as soon as he put it in the lock. Creak. The Bravery Guild looked surprised at the door that had seemed impossible to open. Huh, what was that? How did he do it? Jinwoo didn't pay attention to their questions and told them sharply, "You can come in. I won't stop you. Just understand that once you go in, it will be very difficult to come out safely." The team stopped, not wanting to ignore the warning from a powerful hunter. But as expected from the Bravery Guild, their leader bravely decided to go first. "I'll go inside." Everyone was silent. Jinwoo didn't try to change his mind. It was their decision, so they would have to face what happened next. The guildmaster looked back at his team, but they looked at each other and stayed where they were. They didn't follow him. The guildmaster looked at his team with disappointment, then stood before the door. Jinwoo held it open for him. Boom. The heavy door swung open. The guildmaster looked determined and briefly met Jinwoo's eyes. He hesitated for a moment, but then bravely stepped inside. As he did, Jinwoo received a few messages. Ping, ping, someone entered the temple without permission. Entry is not allowed. If you don't follow the rules, the guards will activate. Only Jinwoo could see these warnings. The guildmaster didn't know what was about to happen, and took another step. Whoosh! A large hammer fell towards his head. Kroom! It smashed the stone tile where he had been standing. Arg! Jinwoo quickly pulled the man away, saving him from being hurt. Ah! The guildmaster was very scared as stone figures tried to grab him. Jinwoo threw the guildmaster outside the room, and quickly shut the door. The whole room felt like that. He turned to the group. "Do you still want to go in?" The leader of the group shook his head. No, while sitting on the floor, his friends helped him stand up and carried him away. After they were gone, Jinwoo walked through the door by himself. Ding! A message appeared. The keeper of the key has entered. Boom! The door shut behind him. The room was very big. Statues stood along the walls, and the biggest one was far away at the end of the hall. It looked just like he remembered. "I am back." His heart beat fast. Something was different now. It was Jinwoo himself who had changed. The new and improved Jinwoo could now understand what the statues really were. They weren't magical creatures or alive. They were just puppets connected to something else. Only one creature in the room had magical power, and it was very good at hiding it. Jinwoo could only tell it was there, because of a strange and unsettling feeling it gave off. He slowly walked toward a certain statue. So it was you. The statue didn't respond. Is that how you want to play? Jinwoo's lips curved into a small smile, and he quickly thrust his dagger toward the statue's chest. Crack. The attack was stopped by a flat stone shield, held by the only statue that was holding a weapon. Finally, the statue with 6 wings smiled peacefully. You made it. Magic beasts started coming out of a huge gate in Shinjuku. Stomp. Stomp. Whoa, what are those? They were very large. The kind of magic beasts that sometimes appear as strong enemies in difficult dungeons. Giants. They're giants. Everyone watching was scared. But Yuri took a drink from his bottle. I can handle this, no problem. These magic beasts frightened others, but Yuri knew his work was perfect. Come at me. And just as he thought, bam. Wham! The giants hit something, but couldn't get through. Thud. The beasts kept hitting and throwing their bodies against it. But the circle Yuri made held strong. Ah ha 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 ha. Yuri laughed at the sight. After trying for half an hour, the giants went back as if they were tired of trying to break through the barrier. The people watching were surprised. Oh my god, the magic beasts are going back inside the gate. No one had ever seen anything like this before, and even the reporters took lots of pictures. As the last giant disappeared, President Matsumoto stood up and clapped. Clap, clap, clap. One clap turned into many, then into sighs of relief, and finally cheers. Hoo woo. Everyone was excited, and Yuri faced the reporters. I did something amazing. I blocked the super strong gate. He yelled loudly. That other person only defeated a few small enemies, but I stopped the big ones. Who is the best now? Yuri's face was red from drinking, and he smiled to show his gold tooth. Stomp. The ground shook. Stomp. The military tanks waiting nearby shook from the force. Yuri finally noticed that the reporters were no longer looking at him, but at the gate. He looked where they were staring and dropped his bottle. It clattered to the ground. Oh no, the hunter's eyes widened at the huge creature coming through the gate. It was much bigger than the other giants. As it stood up, Yuri couldn't believe how enormous it was. How could something be so big? It had to bend over to get through the gate. He knew right away, this was the strongest monster in the dungeon. The scary creature looked around, and then ran towards the invisible wall. Boom! The sound shook the ground. Boom! Boom! The magic circle, which only Yuri could see, started to crack. How is this possible? The hunter fell to his knees. The monster stopped pushing against the barrier with its shoulder, then quickly ran back and slammed into the wall with all its force. Kaboom! The light from the magic circle disappeared with a loud blast. No! Yuri cried out, and the free giant immediately grabbed the person who created the barrier. The Russian man yelled as he felt his bones break and tried to get away from the giant. Up-a-bug! Up-a-bug! Ash-ash! His scream stopped suddenly as the huge creature opened its mouth. The smaller giants who had run back behind the gate now came rushing out from behind their leader. He had swallowed Yuri completely. Crick 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 crick. Strange sound came from the statue's parts as it started to move. Jinwoo watched it carefully, feeling worried. The creature was different from the other statues, mostly because of its wings. It was the only one that looked like an angel, and it had 6 large wings. The statue was very tall, about 3 meters high. Jinwoo quickly stepped back and got ready, holding a dagger in each hand. Ready to fight, he prepared his mind, body and senses for battle, even though he sensed Jinwoo wanted to fight. The angel smiled. Its smile was unsettling and strange, and it gave Jinwoo chills. It looked at its broken stone tablet, and threw it away without thinking. Crash! The tablet broke into many pieces when it hit the ground. The angel statue gave a stiff laugh. Aha! Jinwoo frowned, realizing something. All this time the writing on the stone tablet hadn't mattered at all. Otherwise, the statue wouldn't have been so careless with it. So what was the purpose of this place? And what did it want? And what was the reason for the challenges? Getting stronger, finding keys, and all the weird things that had happened since he left. This was Jinwoo's chance to find out some answers, and he was really excited. His heart started beating fast, like a motor revving up. This thing knows everything. Without letting his guard down, Jinwoo asked quietly, "Are you the one who brought me here?" What was the connection between the system and the statue? Yes. The angel statue tested its fingers, moving them to see if they worked. You made it back. The creature then tested its neck, turning it from side to side. It made cracking sounds. It was stretching, and it was easy to see why. Usually Jinwoo would have quickly attacked, but he waited this time. He had lots of questions for the angel and didn't want to fight it, so he didn't want to waste his opportunity. Are you a magical creature? The magical energy coming from the angel statue felt different than the energy from a typical magical creature. But the idea of a magic beast was something humans made up. If it included all kinds of monsters, then this statue that could talk and move certainly fit the description. Was anything more frightening than that? Jinwoo was trying to figure out if the statue was the same thing as a magic beast. The statue bent over to touch its toes, and then stood back up straight. You are asking the wrong question. You should have asked me who you are, instead of who I am. Jinwoo was surprised for a moment, but the angel clapped its hands to get his attention. Clap. Now, this will be the last test. The statue finished stretching, and its smile disappeared. If you are still standing when this test is over, I will tell you everything. That will be. The angel clicked its fingers, and the eyes of the other statues glowed red. Your reward from me. All the stone figures turned their heads to look at Jinwoo. Thump. They stepped down from their bases, and lifted their weapons. Jinwoo looked at each one carefully. Even though they were just puppets, they seemed very strong, and had almost defeated him several times before. Jinwoo quietly called forth his shadow soldiers. He told them to appear. A message popped up saying special abilities could not be used during the final challenge. It also said potions and shopping were not allowed. Rewards for getting stronger and finishing tasks have been turned off. You cannot leave until the last test is over. What? Jinwoo looked confused as he read each message, but he didn't have time to think about them for long. The statues started to attack. They moved fast and silently, which was very different from the many knights who had crowded around him when he completed the quest to change jobs. So this is how it will be, he thought. All the different potions and rewards he had gotten ready, just in case, were now destroyed. The system understood Jinwoo's plans very well now. Okay, I will finish this challenge on my own. Jinwoo firmly held the knives. The quickest way to solve the problem would be to defeat the person controlling everything, the angel statue. But Jinwoo knew he couldn't give up now. He would save that idea for when he really needed it. First he would do what the statue asked and take the test. Everything had led to this moment. Jinwoo had always worked hard to improve himself, so he could handle any problem without getting scared. Hwawu the hunter breathed out a warm puff of air. In the past, the statues had moved so quickly it looked like they disappeared, and reappeared somewhere else. Now he could easily follow what they were doing. Left. He blocked a spear coming from the left with his dagger. Clang. Left again. Another statue jumped off the attacker's shoulders with an axe, and swung it down. Since trying to block a strike from above wouldn't work well, Jinwoo chose to dodge it by twisting his body. Crash! The axe hit the ground, and sent pieces of stone flying. Jinwoo kicked the statue's face as hard as he could. Crack! Its head broke into pieces. Fwish! Jinwoo bent his body backward to avoid an arrow, which stuck in the wall behind him. The attacks kept coming, and there wasn't time to celebrate defeating one statue. One came from the right. A sword swung towards him. Clang! Jinwoo pushed the sword away with all his strength, using one knife, and quickly slashed with the other in a diagonal swing. The knife cut off the statue's arm, and it stumbled back, seeming to hurt. Left, right, left, front, right, left. I can do this. The more Jinwoo focused on the fight, the slower the statue seemed to move, and the faster he became. Suddenly, he felt a cold shiver on the back of his neck. Someone was behind him. Jinwoo jumped over a statue, coming up from behind and chopped off its head. He was able to see everything around him, thanks to his special ability. Woo! He breathed out a long sigh. He could feel everything the statues did. His eyes shone as he defended against their attacks, pushing back each strike and defeating many of them. This was the moment he had been preparing for. He quickly cut through the statues with his special daggers, as if they were made to slice through rock. His body and mind worked together perfectly, like a well-oiled machine, and he was ready for anything. The angel statue seemed pleased as it watched Jinwoo carefully. He is doing well for a human, it thought. A smile appeared on the angel's face. It had made a good decision, but the test wasn't over yet. The angel statue looked at the giant creature sitting on a large throne. Its eyes glowed red, as if it had been waiting for a signal. It grabbed the sides of the throne, and stood up. The ground rumbled. The giant was so big, it was scary. The whole cave shook as it took its first step. Boom, boom, because it took such big steps, it reached Jinwoo very quickly. A pile of broken statues was all around the hunter. The huge creature stopped right in front of the pile and lifted its right arm. While fighting the other statues, Jinwoo felt something was wrong. He looked up and saw a shadow falling over him. What was that? A giant hand appeared, and the enormous creature slammed it onto the ground, not caring about the smaller statues. Crash! Jinwoo quickly moved his body to the side, and rolled a few times before standing up. He had managed to avoid being crushed by its hand. Jinwoo looked serious as he saw his new enemy. This was a difficult situation. He went from one problem to an even bigger one. There were at least 100 statues still moving and running quickly toward him. They were soon close behind him. He quickly changed the path of a heavy club that was coming toward him by lightly touching it with his knife. He quickly stepped in front of the puppet and cut off its head. Thud! As the puppet's head fell to the ground, another one immediately moved forward to take its place. But that wasn't the biggest problem. Jinwoo suddenly felt a chill, and the hairs on his arms stood up, because he sensed danger. He jumped and looked up quickly. An unsettling red light was getting brighter in the huge statue's eyes. Was it already too late? The statue's powerful heat vision could melt him, if he moved the wrong way and the other statues blocked his path. He dropped the small knife in his left hand, and reached out toward the soldiers marching toward him. Ruler's hand. 5 of the statues were crushed together by the power. Ping! The skill ruler's hand had become even stronger, upgrading to skill ruler's authority. Great, but there wasn't time to be happy about it. Jinwoo quickly put his shield in front of the giant's eyes. Zap! Just as he thought, a red laser beam shot out. Zads! Although the heat melted his shield in less than a second, that was long enough for Jinwoo to run away. The stone pieces of the statues crashed to the ground as he turned off ruler's authority. Thud! Jinwoo decided to try a new plan now that he saw how strong the giant statue was, and what it could do to its friends. He realized he should have defeated it first. Knowing what he needed to do, Jinwoo quickly moved into action just before the second beam of light shot out. Flash! Because he was so much faster, the giant statue couldn't even follow him as he moved. He reached the giant creature's feet, and crouched down, concentrating all his strength on his legs. He only had one opportunity. It would be very difficult to avoid the red beam in the air, but Jinwoo had learned that you miss every attempt you don't make. So please, let me do this. With determination, Jinwoo jumped forward with all his power. His body leaped upward quickly. Hurry up and fall. At the highest point of his jump, Jinwoo was at the same height as the giant creature. Time seemed to slow down, and he noticed a drop of sweat move slowly as it fell. Jinwoo was concentrating very hard, because he knew one small mistake could mean he would die. This made his abilities as strong as they could be. This is the real power of being quick and flexible. Jinwoo was surprised to see how amazing he could be when using this ability, but there wasn't time to celebrate. The giant statue was slowly turning to look at him. Seeing its bright red eyes from so far away made his skin prickle. If the statue's light even touched him, it would be terrible. Feeling so much danger made him feel sick, but also helped him think clearly. Stay calm. Jinwoo held out his empty left hand. Ruler's authority. He used his newly improved skill to try and pull on the statue's shoulder. He wanted to pull himself toward the large stone statue, instead of trying to move the statue itself. Whoosh! The statue did move, but only a little bit. It was amazing. The power of his ability had become twice as strong with the new upgrade, and now worked like a force that pulled things closer. Jinwoo landed safely on the statue's shoulder. A red beam of light shot past where he had just been. Good. He had gained a few seconds. He ran across the shoulder and quickly moved toward the statue's neck, holding a special dagger tightly in his hand. Many small silver lights appeared on the statue's neck. He stabbed at each of the lights with the dagger several times, but it didn't seem to do anything. The attacks didn't seriously hurt the statue, only causing small wounds. Daggers weren't effective against it. The demon monarch's dagger, which had pierced the tough scales of a powerful snake monster, seemed useless now. Suddenly Jinwoo saw a huge hand reaching for him. He quickly ran across the back of the statue's neck, and onto its other shoulder to escape being grabbed. As he moved forward he looked down and noticed how very high up he was. Jinwoo quickly looked back at the statue. This wasn't the first enemy that had blocked his attacks, he had faced this before. If he couldn't stab through it he would have to break it. He had spent a lot of effort increasing his strength for a reason. Jinwoo's eyes showed his strong will as he jumped and hit the statue's head. With his left hand, a cracking sound filled the air.
Yes!
Jinwoo made a fist and held onto the statue's face, like a skilled climber holding onto a cliff with just one hand. He was ready and now was the time to try.